So this morning was a pleasant meet. We're standing outside the Vivian Richards Stadium with Shawn Red, Terminex cyclist. Shawn, good morning. How are you today?
Not bad at all, and you?
I'm good. Shawn, I just want to ask you, how your year started with cycling? I know we had the Roman early in the year, and that went pretty well.
That's correct.
And you were a participant, did extremely well in that event. How was your year? A synopsis of your year, the beginning.
So far, well, let's start from the beginning. As you said, we normally train for the Roman triathlon every year. That came out pretty well. I think overall I came third, second Antiguan, and overall a successful event. Look forward to doing it next year. So that was for as it relates to triathlon. As for cycling now, as everyone knows, COVID has put a twist in everything.
So COVID interrupted everything basically.
Literally.
So tell me, how have as an active cyclist or triathlete, how are you coping? What effect has COVID have on you?
At first it was a bit tough when the quarantine was on and we didn't get a chance to do no exercise at all. So being indoors was a bit tough, but understand exactly the reason why the country had to be closed and had to cope with the situation as it was. Getting back out in the road has been an awesome experience. Back to training, back to getting back into some sort of fitness, which has felt really good. Sadly to say, the other countries have begun to have race going on. For us here, still no word yet. Permission has not been given yet for us to actually have any race. So it's a tough ask because this sport requires a lot of time. You have to invest a lot of time and money. Staying conditioned requires time and nutrition. So investing so much without any race is kind of like a bit depressing. So we're hoping that something changes fast.
Did the COVID effect, how we call it, have any psychological effect on you?
Oh yes, right now I can say I've put on some weight, which I was trying to lose some weight. So a little bit more indoors, a little bit more eating, not much motivated to do very much because not only cycling wise but business wise also has been a downturn for me personally, being the fact I'm in the tourism industry and simply run my own business. So that's a huge downturn to me also financially. So I can say it's a bit depressing just all the way around. I am hoping that I'm in support of the government. We have to learn to live with COVID. There's no getting around it anytime soon. And being a tourism destination, I'm in support of opening back up the country and see how things go. Just put measures in place to curtail whatever we can. But as for our economy that depends on tourism and nothing going on, for me, the country is going to stifle.
As an athlete, what is your take? Well, you specialize in cycling. What's your take on the current status of cycling where the COVID is concerned? I'm
a bit saddened. I am a follower of other cycling countries also. So whereas Dominica has a race on today, their COVID count is almost as equal as ours, a bit lower. St. Martin has about active 80 cases, but they're having races. Anguilla is having races. Other countries are having races. Things are still going on. I think we're a bit slow in getting things back going as regards to cycling. I have no blame to throw at the association. I think they've been trying really hard to get the government to look at the other countries and what they've been doing to get this thing back up and running. And so we here can also do something also. Let's face it, a lot more persons are getting involved in exercise and a lot more persons getting involved in cycling. I think it'll be awesome for some sort of activity that can create social distances and persons can be safe actually in doing it. So I'm a bit disappointed that we haven't been able to get some sort of racing going yet.
Did the shutdown cause you to divert some energy into any other thing to buffer your frustration or anything like that?
For me, my bike is my love. So whereas I do a lot of swimming also, the beaches were closed also, everything was actually closed. So we're depending heavily on the indoor trainers and activities along that line just to keep some sort of fitness. There was much we could do. I do a little bit of running when I can, but again, the weight and the age, it's not advisable. So I do less running as possible because it impacts on the joints, and more cycling and even more so swimming, which creates a bit more rounded physique and exercise method and doesn't have any serious impacts on the joint.
So physically, your standard might have dropped a bit.
Oh yes.
I'm thinking that you got a little bit of mental challenge with that, where you have to stay indoors instead of being outdoors doing the same training, and that kind of stuff. So what would you have to say to other athletes who is facing the same shutdown?
It's a tough thing. It's a tough mental thing. As we all know in sports, physical fitness is important and you can get really fit if you really work hard. But mental toughness, as far as where sport is concerned, is where the strength really lies. So being disciplined is so important. Despite the fact that the circumstances is not going to change. Ireland is locked down and we all know why. But be able to be mentally tough to stay indoors and do the training that's required of you, it's where discipline comes in. I have not been that disciplined, especially where the food is concerned. I'm a binge person. I'll binge eat. If the pressure was up high with COVID and the stress was up high with business, and what I'll do, I'll eat a bit too much. So I can say that's the effect it's having me personally, eating. Not much activity in eating, so I've gained a little weight and I have to work hard to take that back off now to be in condition for, hopefully, we should hear something this week as to whether or not our season will be on or off, or whether or not we're going to just simply call it off for the year. It'll be sad to really call it off for the year because we are putting a lot of, well, me personally, I'm a training partner, Jeffrey Kelson, we've invested a lot of time and money in preparation, and then for what? I must say I'm grateful for Terminix. Terminix has now come on board and offered us a sponsor, and that's going to be a big plus. Because when you talk about nutrition and supplements,
it buffers the pocket a bit, huh?
Oh yes, it'll make a huge difference. Because these bikes are not cheap. It's about $6,000 US. These bikes are not cheap, and without proper investment and sponsorship, it becomes a bit difficult. Supplements are expensive, and all these things have to be brought in, and these were out-of-pocket expenses. Now that we have some sponsor on board, as Terminix again has come on board, it would make a huge difference in how we're able to train, how supplements are provided, and how we go forward. So again, thumbs up to Terminix.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking with Shawn Redred, Terminix cyclist, and he's just giving us a little bit of insight as to how he's coping with COVID. Mental challenge, yes, and all the other attributes that come with it. Ladies and gentlemen, Shawn Redred, thank you very much.